Assalamu alaikum and welcome to 5 W's of English Literature. Dear viewers, we are discussing Classicism and Romanticism in Shakespeare's plays. In the previous video, we discussed the part 1 of our topic, Classicism in Shakespeare's plays. If you want to see this video, you can get the link of this video from the description box. Today's video is the part 2 of our topic, Romanticism in Shakespeare's plays. Germany was the geographical heart of Romanticism in literature. Romanticism can be defined in the words of German poet Friedrich schlegel, literature depicting emotional matter in an imaginative form. The proponents of Romanticism believe that man is by nature morally good, that his taste is determined by individual feeling rather than by reason, that his knowledge is acquired empirically from the individual, concrete and particularized world. In this video, we will try to find out romantic notions in Shakespeare's plays. Characterization is the heart of any dramatic creation according to Romanticism. And the most important thing to note in Shakespeare's plays is their emphasis upon characterization. These are some comments of the critics about the characterization in Shakespeare's plays. John Dryden, in an essay of dramatic poesy, writes these words about Shakespeare. To begin with Shakespeare, he was the man who of all modern and perhaps ancient poets had the largest and most comprehensive soul. All the images of nature were still present to him, and he drew them not laboriously but luckily. When he describes anything, you more than see it, you feel it too. Johnson writes in his preface to edition of Shakespeare, 1765. This, therefore, is the praise of Shakespeare, that his drama is the mirror of life. William Richardson published his philosophical analysis of Shakespeare's remarkable characters in 1774. He calls Shakespeare the Proteus of the drama, who changes himself into every character and enters easily into every condition of human nature. Henry Home, Lord Cairns, writes in his Elements of Criticism, the speeches of Shakespeare's characters appear the legitimate offspring of passion, while those of other dramatists are descriptive only and illegitimate. The stress placed upon the characterization in any dramatic creation by romantics is an attempt to treat the characters intuitively as living persons, inferring when their motivations and actions might be, rather than to treat them as dramatis personae only. Hazlitt praised Shakespeare for his ability in creating characters that breathe, move, and live. He does not present us with groups of stage puppets or poetical machines making sad speeches on human life, but he brings living men and women on the scene. Hamlet is one of the earliest of placing stress upon characterization. William Richardson comments on Hamlet in Additional Observations, Essays on Shakespeare's Dramatic Characters. Now might I do it pat. Now he is praying. You ask me why he did not kill the usurper? And I answer, because he was at that instant irresolute. This irresolution arose from the inherent principles of his constitution and is to be accounted natural. Henry Mackenzie reported in the Mirror 1780 that Shakespeare fully understood Hamlet's sensibility and delicacy of feeling. If we knew what he was going to do, our interest would be in the event, not in the character. He thinks that Hamlet's difficulties increase his misery, but that they also increase his moral and spiritual greatness. He feels that the more perfect characters of other tragedies never move us as Hamlet does, because our sympathy for his distress and our interest in his conduct are deeply stirred. Mackenzie quotes Horatio's lines, "Now cracks a noble heart," as an example to prove his point, for he generalizes at the sound of this remark. We forget villainy, guilt, crime, everything in his sympathetic contemplation of Hamlet's troubles. The Winter's Tale is another drama of Shakespeare that implies romantic notions. Existence of wrinkles on Hermione's brow implies the grotesquerie of the degenerating body in Bakhtin's theory. As the Renaissance proceeds, Bakhtin discovers an increasing tension between the grotesque version of the body with its dynamism and the classical version where there is stasis. At this point, it may come across the mind that Shakespeare might have intended to critique the whole classical notion of art form. Leonce doubts the oracle's authority, and his son is taken away from him by gods as a punishment. One of the reasons for maintaining that the play shifts from the moderation of classicism to the insurrection of Romanticism is that the boundaries are broken and revolt dominates the atmosphere. In this case, Leonce's revolt against gods. Hegel proposed poetry, painting, and music as romantic art forms. In this play, however, it seems that a new romantic art form is being introduced. Shakespeare seems to suggest human being as a possible form. Besides, we could also notice the presence of music as an already existing romantic art form, performed precisely at the moment of Hermione's metamorphosis. Music, awake her, strike, music, 'tis time, descend, be stone no more, approach. The theme of marriage between diverse aesthetic forms, art and nature, the ideal and the real, and double killing could be detected throughout the play. One of the best instances in this respect belong to Perdita and Polixenes' discussion about floral interbreeding. He tries to cajole Perdita that such an art which marries a gentle sign to the wildest stock and creates a bark of baser kind by bird of nobler race will add to nature and mend it. But the art itself is nature after all. Perdita was disowned by her father, found in the wilderness by chance, and raised by a shepherd. She fell in love with the prince, unaware of the fact that his father was a friend of Leonce, her real father. But could Polixenes also be unaware of the fact that he was actually conversing with Leonce's daughter, despite her striking likeness to her mother? The point is that Polixenes' negligence has been exposed by Shakespeare implicitly, since he does not recognize her strong resemblance to Hermione, which is stressed as one of the proofs of identity later in the play. This could be an evidence of the insufficiency of the classical notion of exact imitation. For example, the striking resemblance between Perdita as daughter and Hermione as mother, which has been included and ridiculed in the play quite indirectly by the author. Conclusion. Nevertheless, Shakespeare's use of Hegelian as well as novel romantic forms should not convince us that the playwright approved of and believed in the perfect appropriateness or superiority of the romantic art forms. We should bear in mind that he brought reconciliation between classical and romantic aesthetic notions only through their tantalization on several occasions. We may agree with Jaffin about the paradoxical nature of Shakespeare's works, resisting any sort of generalization. But we should be keen enough to notice the turbulence beneath romantic and classic notions in Shakespeare's plays, and general statements such as Shakespeare is the classic of motion, by whom should be approached more cautiously. As a result, to be overzealous with one approach to the exclusion of any other offers the possibility of misunderstanding. Perhaps, as Cicero reminds us, the pursuit, even of the best of things, ought to be calm and tranquil. Dear viewers, this is the end of today's video. If you like my video, please hit the like button and also subscribe my channel. Take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.